Okay, so welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. Time for the Friday wrap up and catch up on everything. Basically, I just want to talk a little bit about what happened this week, what we learned, how it went, what we did, and any details we might need to, touch base on, and so on, and some, one or two coming trades that I'm interested in. How does everybody feel about that? First of all, how was the week for everybody? Did most of you guys, all of you guys, get in on some of our good trades? We had a nice run on Aussie New Zealand this week. We had a great run on New Zealand CAD this week. We had positions on both, um, and they went pretty darn well. Pretty darn well. So, Carl, best week. Okay, Dennis, good week. I love to hear it. Bob, profit, excellent. Greg made some profits. Good, good. That's what we want, guys. That's what we want. We want to make sure we're just catching these trades and making some bucks. So, after the New Zealand news this week that drove our trades into some pretty excellent profit, I got some messages from several of you guys saying, some people had made some really excellent amounts of money and great percentages and so on from messages I got. Sounds like for many it was one of their best trading weeks ever. So I love to hear all that. That's awesome. That's awesome. We've just been really steadily plugging along at these trades, right? And good, Lester. Excellent, excellent. And we've just been, trying to grab pips and grab profits out of these currency pairs. And some things have been a little slow, but we haven't taken any losses, and we've been grabbing some decent profits, week after week after week. But this week was definitely a good week. We had a nice bump. We'd been sitting in some trades for a while, patiently and waiting for the move to happen. And lo and behold, it finally happened. So, but there's more to talk about on that. So just a little quick update here. So as a reminder, here's our position history. So we closed the Aussie New Zealand, right? We had a couple of positions there, 104, 103.30. We closed at 104.45, right? I just said, let's close out. Let's let this puppy pull back a little bit, and we'll jump back into it. So here's our Aussie New Zealand, somewhere over here. That's absolutely true, Lester. Patience does absolutely pay off. So here's our Aussie New Zealand chart, right? So we got out at 104.45, which was right here. I just finally a tiny bit above the weekly pivot or the monthly pivot. I said, let's close this puppy out. Let's just call it good. And it really only ran up to about 104.52, 51. So it ran another 5 or 6 pips, and then it started to pull back. And we got in at 104.10 again, right? Is everybody clear on that? I want to make sure that we're all clear on that. So we're back in Aussie New Zealand from, I don't know what the date is today or what it is, whatever, but there we go. We're the 29th. So we got back in 2 days ago. Or yesterday, whatever. The pending order was posted 2 days ago, and I think it took a little while to get filled there. But we're back in at 104.10. 104.10. So we've done pretty good with these kinds of areas here. We got out about 5 pips from the top, and we got back in about 8 pips off the bottom, 7 pips off the bottom. So at least of this little short-term activity here. So this is super awesome. I love how it's working out. I love how it's behaving, and it's doing really well. Now, some people, I actually got one message, and it was a really good question. And I was just a little bit on the busy side to get back to the person that asked me this, so it's a great time to talk about it. Why are we getting in now on Aussie New Zealand? Why did we get back in on this dip? It didn't even hit the daily pivot. Didn't hit that 38% fib, and we have a market imbalance all the way down here. So why are we jumping back into this thing already instead of waiting for a bigger move down and a push higher? The answer to that question, does anybody have any thoughts about that? Why are we getting in right now? Why are we getting back into this darn thing right now? If this is what if this is the setup that we have. Well, oh, Mel, you just nailed it. You nailed it. yes, we are scaling back into this. Remember, the idea of scaling into a position is that most of the time when we scale into trades, we want to make sure that we're spreading our risk out, number one, but number two, that we are getting into the trades we want to get into, right? I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss a trade. And so as I watched kind of price action here, and I thought, okay, chances are very good we're going to come back to this daily pivot, which is at 103.95. And we have a 38% fib here, which is around 103.97, 98. And so I thought, I really want to get in on that dip, but I really don't want to miss it. So I'm going to move my entry up here just a little bit, 10 pips, right? So basically 104.10 to 103.95. That puts us underwater about 15 pips. It fills our trade, and if it hits that daily pivot, then we're down 15 pips, right? So that's kind of where that's kind of where this entry came about, right? I thought I'm going to give this an extra buffer. I want to make sure we get in. And what did I put? I think I put this in the in the chat and the notes and so on. At least I hope I did. Active positions. Yeah. So we're getting in at 104.10, and we're going to scale back into this thing. We're basically going to do the same trade we just did, right? Have a 10400-ish entry, and then we've got this market imbalance down here at 103, 30, 40 area. And so if we've got to add a position there, that's okay too. Now, and even lower. So I'm super good with that. I'm totally okay with that. But I want to make sure we don't miss this. This is a big trade we waited for and watched for, and we made some great profits on that move higher. But this thing is still, well, not really, but anything. This thing is still very bullish. This is a very, very good movement. We're getting these big breakouts. So see this move right. Hold on here. Oops, got my drawing tool on. So see this move right here. We had this. This is what I kept saying about the Aussie New Zealand. I just like this thing more and more and more. And this big falling wedge is broken out, and I don't want to miss that run into the 105.25 and into all of these bigger, better upper targets here. So that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing. It's really bullish still. It's really looking good. Now, this is without a doubt a nice little double top, right? So we got a nice double top right there. And the likelihood of this heading lower into the daily pivot into the market imbalance, I would say, is pretty decent. Again, I am less concerned with taking some short-term profits here and here. I don't want to miss the movement that we're trying to get, and the movement we're trying to get is a bigger pullback, or excuse me, any kind of pullback, but a much bigger movement up. So that's why I'm saying let's stay the course. Let's keep our position. Anybody, obviously we're up about 20 pips, just shy of 20 pips here. Anybody that wants to lock in a little bit of profit and get taken out on this and be able to buy in at a dip, never a bad idea. But again, I'm very conscientious, very concerned, very wanting to make sure that we get this move. I do not want to miss this move. So I'm probably not going to make the recommendation. I'm going to watch things, but I probably won't make the recommendation to members, and including I won't do it myself, to lock in profit, because I don't want this thing to dip down, stop me out with 2 or 3 or 5 pips profit, and then take off again. So I'm going to let this position go negative if that's what it does, if that's what's going to happen. If this is going to dip down, most likely I'm going to let my 104.10 position go negative. Because I'm just scaling into this trade. If it goes back down to 103, 30, 40 area, great. I'm going to buy again. But for now, I'm just going to leave this trade open. Yeah, I don't have a pending order yet, Mel, but you could definitely put one. And I'd put one, probably at 103.40 because that market imbalance is right about 30, 38 or so. So 103.40 is probably a good spot. But I don't have a pending order yet because we may have to actually get in sooner than that, or we might want to get in sooner than that. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. That's kind of where things are going, how they're looking, and so on. So that's what I want to see happen on this Aussie New Zealand. Let's stay the course. Let's look for, just to remind ourselves what some of our targets are. Another big, wonderful market imbalance up here around 105.20-ish area. Big, awesome target. Super great. Monthly pivot over here, about 10700. Weekly pivot over here, 107.50. Another market imbalance over here at 108. So I'm really looking for this thing to get up into 108. That's really where I'd like to see the Aussie New Zealand go. 108. That's what we want. So I'm not going to be too concerned about short-term profits here. If we notice that this starts to get pretty choppy and it starts to go real slow again, and so on, we might add some side positions, right? Something like a couple of small positions while we leave our larger positions open to run. So that's what we're looking for. Is everybody okay on that? Does anybody have any questions on Aussie New Zealand? Great profits. We're in again. We're in profit again. We're going to scale into this. We're going to take this for the bigger run. I think we've handled the closes and the reopens on here about as darn good as we can, because it's just been reacting beautifully. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Good. Good, Mel. Okay, everyone, any questions on that? I'm going to move on from the Aussie New Zealand, so I want to make sure I don't miss anything from anybody. You guys all good there? Okay. All right, so that's Aussie New Zealand. So next week the focus will be just getting another position in. And yes, we could, I might place an official pending order in here. We're just gonna, we'll watch it a little bit. Obviously, I've got chart alarm set everywhere, and I'm watching everything, and so we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, so that is Aussie New Zealand. Now, because we had already 2 positions on Aussie New Zealand going into the news, I never want to take too much more risk than we absolutely, have to. We knew that we wanted to get back, where we wanted to add an additional position on New Zealand CAD at 92.50. I wanted to do that really bad. I know some people did. But I didn't think it was a safe move for the group, since we already had 2 positions on another New Zealand pair and we were going into some potentially volatile news. So we kept our 91.60 entry, this guy right here, and I didn't add to it up here. And of course, we had the breakout, everything worked out nice, and and it's up some good profits. As I mentioned, on this trade right here, I didn't want to lock in profit, because I said I'd rather let this thing go a little bit negative as well and stay into this move, because I think we have a better chance of this running to 90, 90.10, 90.05, just 9,000 even. I think we have a better chance of that running down there than we do of getting a big pullback to that market imbalance and so on. So I think we're headed into that, into that 9,000 area, and we've got that target that's around 89.80. Daily pivot down here at 90.10-ish area. So anyways, we're still in this. Are you guys all still in the New Zealand CAD? I definitely have not issued any kind of lock-in profit or close order trade. I've just said let's let it run. Let's let it run. And I'm still in it. I'm still holding it. I'm still letting it run. And so far it's doing awesome. It's doing awesome. Okay, Mel missed it. That's all right. Greg still in. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Very, very good. Okay, so this one is just going to be much like a lot of these other New Zealand pairs, where we're just holding on for that bigger direction. I still think we could get a pretty significant move on New Zealand CAD into 8,800 before we get a significant pullback. So we might end up holding this for quite a bit of time. But at least for the moment, we're holding it short term. We're kind of seeing how this behaves. We've got some support levels running through here. This is starting to hit a little bit of this stuff right here. And it's it's working out. It's working out pretty well. So we're going to have a bit of a decision point down here, 90.75. We've had plenty of reactions there in the past, and I think there's more to come. Okay, Jim jumped in. Okay, Jim, yeah, and I know you closed out that initial trade and got back in. You're up another 30 pips, so good, man. That's excellent. Very nicely done. So great move on New Zealand CAD. Loving that whole thing. All is good. So we're looking for at least a move down into 90, into 9,000 level, and then we'll see how it goes. And again, if this starts to make a big run up, we may adjust things. We might lock in profit, but at this point, I kind of want to leave it. It took out that daily pivot, which was great, and just kind of left that market in balance. We had some better than expected Canadian GDP news, looking for 0.1% on the GDP and got 0.3%. And so that's causing some Canadian dollar strength, and that's just, improving the case for being short New Zealand CAD. So yeehaw, yeehaw, 2 good trades there. We love those. Those are awesome. That's great. We have, so is everybody clear on New Zealand CAD, Aussie New Zealand, why we're doing what we're doing, how we're going to do it, made some money, back in, all that good stuff. Anyone have any questions, anything to discuss there? One thing that I wanted to bring up, this doesn't apply so much on New Zealand CAD, although it can. But as I'm watching this Aussie New Zealand really super quick here, if we don't get a significant pullback on Aussie New Zealand, and it doesn't have to be significant, but if we don't get another 50 pips, 60 pips of pullback on Aussie New Zealand to buy into this, how are we going to be able to take advantage of that move in the 105.20 and beyond? I'm thinking about buying the breakout of this double top. So scaling in with profit, which is something we don't do very often. We usually scale in and draw down, which I love to do, but scaling in and profit is always a good thing to do whenever the opportunity arises. And so we've got this nice, fantastic little double top here that hopefully is going to take us, the rest of the way to where we want to, get some of those bigger profits. And so I think looking at some breakouts of that, that's a pretty textbook perfect double top at about 104.50. So I think looking for some buying opportunities above 104.50 will be something we do, again, if we don't get enough of a pullback on this Aussie New Zealand. So we might just buy that double top breakout and, and get it on that. I don't love to add in profit because it puts our break-even point further out. Or, we're already in profit and then it gives us a different break-even. So it kind of messes things a little bit. And that's why we usually add in drawdown, because that actually brings our break-even point closer. But I might do the same kind of thing here on New Zealand CAD. So as we start to kind of break out, make our way below this level right here, there might be an opportunity to add another small position on the way to this 9,000 target. So we're gonna look at both of those, explore both those opportunities, and I've got chart alarms set. I know when things are starting to make a push, and we'll watch it closely, and we'll be ready for it. So I just wanted to kind of make sure everybody's clear on that. Okay, makes sense? Adding a little bit in profit versus drawdown. So those are 2 opportunities where that may be the case on these New Zealand pairs. We made some good bucks on. Okay. I talked about this euro dollar earlier in the week, and I talked about it again, I don't know, somewhere over here, I guess yesterday. Talked about euro dollar. Euro dollar's been on my mind a little bit because some things keep happening that make me think that the euro dollar is going to continue making the push. First of all, the Fed has not done any major favors for the U.S. dollar. It's it's holding in there a little bit, but they're the exchange rate's strong, and it might be time for a little bit of a breather for the U.S. dollar. So that's kind of thing number 1. Number 2, we have all these targets. We have all these targets up above, and what I wanted to see happen here, as I mentioned earlier in the week, I think I talked about it in the weekly webinar on Monday, euro dollar had these missed pivots. I wanted to see those pivots get taken out, and we took out that final miss pivot by not a lot, by just a couple of pips. We had a low here of about 112.10, and that pivot was at about 112.20. And so we took out those lows, bumped those levels out, and we have these great targets. We don't really have any very interesting targets down below. I mean, there's some old stuff. I think we have some old stuff. Yeah, we've got a monthly pivot down here at 108, and that's about the majority of the most interesting targets we have down below. Excuse me, on euro dollar. But all the real interesting targets are up above. And with all of this chop and consolidation, we just want to try to be entering in, as close as we can to those range lows and trading things up. Euro dollar just basically has to go up. We've got a missed weekly pivot up here and a market imbalance, and I'm just kind of letting this thing consolidate a little bit, and I'd like to see if we can get just a little bit closer to 112. Because I'm not as confident with euro dollar as I am with some of these other trades we've taken. I still feel like there's a little bit of an element of surprise that could potentially happen here. But I like this euro dollar, and I think we're going to try to get into it next week. If we get one more spike, maybe even a little double bottom here around that 112.10-ish, then it's go time, and I think we'll have a nice opportunity to, hopefully grab 100 and 20, 30, 40 pips out of this and trade it on up. So great near-term targets, and then we have some really good, longer-term targets up above on euro dollar as well. If we go to the some of these bigger charts and so on, we have, monthly, weekly pivot up here, 116.50. We have a market imbalance up here, about 117 and change. And then, of course, we have a bunch of missed targets back over here in the 120 area. So I think that the move that we're really looking for is still absolutely dollar bearish. So we're still looking for that dollar bearish move. This consolidation's happening right here, and I'm telling you, it's hard for me to see another scenario than that one right there. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for on those couple of pairs. So it's probably where a lot of my focus is going to be coming into next week. We're going to be adding positions to our New Zealand trades best we can. We're going to be taking on a euro dollar trade most likely. And we'll be kind of going from there. Now, I'm trying to be very cautious about the possibility of a pre-summer push taking the dollar towards more strength. And that could happen. We've got to be careful of that. But I think it's time to start scaling in there and looking for that move and for that trade. So that should be awesome. I think there's going to be some good possibilities coming on that. And that's where I think the most the most attractive, most interesting trades are at the moment. So we are still watching this CAD Swiss. Just a little side note here. We saw some CAD news kind of moved it around a little bit, but still looking to buy CAD Swiss as it dips a little bit more. But yeah, euro dollar, New Zealand CAD, Aussie New Zealand. Let's just keep pounding on those guys, make some bucks. We'll have a couple of shorter term trades next week, I'm sure, around some of these other setups. There's an occasional bar count here and there, and some details like that. But yes, we have more details coming. Yes, and Euro Swiss, Mel. Yeah, Euro Swiss is awesome. I like Euro Swiss a lot. I think this is a great trade. So Euro Swiss is lining up. So Euro Swiss is going to be very similar to Euro Dollar. So both very similar setups. So yeah, same kind of thing. Euro Swiss, Euro Dollar, just looking for those moves, looking for those those initial runs higher. Yeah, I like this Euro Swiss a lot. I think there's a great trading opportunity here for some bullish movements. So yes, yeah, we've got some good opportunities there. So still looking for that push. Euro Swiss long, any dips can be good for some buys as well. So absolutely, yeah. So I haven't liked anything euro in kind of a long time, but euro Swiss looks great. Euro dollar looks great. We've got some really good levels to be working with here, and I think we're gonna get some nice runs. I even think I think I saw something on euro yen that I even liked. Um, so yeah, we're gonna have some opportunities. I was thinking euro yen earlier. I think it's still kind of messy. It's not quite ready for us, but oops. But yeah, looking good. I'd like to kind of get some of these flash crash levels taken out before jumping into euro yen. But euro dollar, euro Swiss look awesome. And I think there are going to be some great buying opportunities for us next week. So euro Swiss dips down a little bit more, we'll buy that. Euro dollar, a little bit more of a dip, we'll buy into that, and kind of take it from there. So yeah, we've got some good stuff and some great trades in the works. So I think that's all I've got. I think that is all I've got for the moment. What do you guys think about that? I'm keeping it pretty simple this morning. I don't want to just talk to talk, because I think our main focus is definitely dialed in and we know what we're looking for here. So I'm going to stick with those couple of trades that we've got, and keep kind of pounding on them and adding to them, and hopefully grabbing some more stuff. So what do you guys think? Does anybody have any questions, comments? Joe, I see you in here. Joe, glad you made it. And Kevin, good to see you, my friend. Jennifer, welcome. Jim, Jack, how you doing? Frank, good to see you. Kendall, hello. Bo, my friend. Sharon, hello. Anybody have any questions, thoughts, anything before we wrap it up? Dollar peso. So the dollar peso was a trade for the scanner group that has played out. Yeah. Dollar peso. I'm a little torn on this long-term situation on the dollar peso. So I'll just tell everyone here in this group, in the scanner group, we had a 5-minute trade on the dollar peso that was due to a fantastic bar count from the scanner. We sold it up here. It just chopped and chopped and chopped, and finally made its way down into this daily pivot, which was the target. So we're looking for a short-term sell on this, which we got. We made a couple of bucks on it. Overall, definitely the dollar peso, the direction still needs to be up, I think. Market imbalance up here at 19.47. So any dips that happen, I traded that 5-minute setup because it was a good 5-minute setup, and now I'm kind of just looking for possible buy the dip opportunities. So if we can get some buy the dips, we've got almost some market imbalanceness in there, but I think we've got a good opportunity to get this thing down there. And if we do get a big dip on there, we'll buy the dollar peso in this group for sure. Kevin, I have some position sizing questions if you have time. Sure, Kevin. Actually, Kevin, why don't you send me a message on Telegram with that? Send me a message on Telegram. Write out a big long detailed description there, and I'll get back to you this morning for sure. Frank, good to see you. So you remember saying you would do a video on when to scale in versus use type stops. When to scale in versus when to use tight stops. Did I say I would do a video on that? I mean, I probably did. I definitely have not made a video on that. I don't remember talking about that so much. Maybe it was last week. Yeah, at my age, I'm starting to forget a lot of these things. Yeah, I haven't made a video on that. Probably will sometime in the future. So, yeah, we'll work on that. But when to scale in versus tight stops, basically to kind of just answer, to kind of just comment on that, stops are when we're trading against the overall direction. right? When we're trading against the area that we want to go for the long term, that's more of the tight stops. That's more of, when you're trading a short-term breakout against the overall trend on maybe on a short-term chart, that's where we use tight stops. Otherwise, we're pretty much not using stops almost ever. But that's kind of the premise of the thought behind all that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'll do some webinars on that in the future for sure. And I would talk more about it right now, but I feel as though the winter weather is overwhelming me here. So we can talk a little bit more about that on Monday even. So okay, good. All right, so let's kind of keep the focus on these trades, guys. Let's keep it going from there. Sorry to cut the webinar short. I'm a little under the weather here, so we'll wrap it up. At that. But thanks everybody for being on. Glad everyone made some money this week, and we'll have more pips and more profits and more funds to make next week. So I'm looking forward to it. Excited about it. I'm glad to have you guys all with us. So thanks a bunch, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you back here on Monday. Thanks, Jeff. Nice to see you. Good to see you guys. Take care, everybody. And hopefully you guys all have a great weekend. Take care, guys.